No, in fact, I'm having a hard time hearing anyone. Want to get a chair?
Yeah, I'm good.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. I get voice. What happened? Okay.
She's on mute.
Oh. I'm gonna turn her off.
Can't hear you, Inbot.
She doesn't know she's on mute.
Well,
She has to unmute
I
herself.
don't know why.
You hear everyone else.
I'm gonna tell her she's on mute.
well, she knows she's on mute. She's been having trouble getting off it.
Because there's feedback. I won't be able to hear them though.
Muted again.
Mhm. Well, those are the dates. So. So muted.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Now I can hear. Okay. All right. So I am just going to stop this for a second so I can get this up here. I just have to recast it so that people can see it here. Gotta love technology. I know I do this every week and it usually I did.
Put this as a larger one, right? I'm not gonna screw it up.
Just leave it. Yeah. I can't. You won't be able to see it unless I cast it.
So the cast TV, share your desktop is.
I gotta cast it though, because it's not, otherwise people can't. Now it works. There we go. There we go. All right. Yes, now they can hear me. Now it works. All right, folks. Sorry about that. We're working now. All right, so I'm gonna go over what we have, and then I will kind of answer questions and ask you for your feedback as we go along. So just bear with me here. We've got our wonderful airplane. Yes, I am recording. Yep. All right, so for those that are not familiar, the tour company that we used last time that we're going to be using again is Israel Maven. Everything I'm sharing with you today, I'm going to email you tomorrow, so you will have a copy of all this. All the links are activated, so you can go and check it out, but I will show you what everything looks like. They are incredibly easy to work with, very, very thorough from start to finish. We had really no issues. It was very, very smooth sailing from the time everything was booked till the minute we all met, till we got on the plane and we got there. So it works really, really well with them. This time around, I'm working with the CEO of the company, so we're getting a lot of personal attention on this trip. So here I'm going to go over what is included in the price point, which I will get to in a second. So you're going to have round trip airfare direct from Newark Airport to Ben Gurion Airport in Israel. The airline is still to be decided. We're looking at who's got the best fare. The last time we went on El Al and it was perfect. I'm hoping that that's still the case, but again, we're going to have to see. We're going to have somebody meeting us at the airport at group arrivals. They've got a sign with our name on it, so it's easy to find them. All of your accommodations at the hotel in the Golan Heights or in the south, and I'll explain that in a moment, in Jerusalem and in Tel Aviv, which are going to be the three main points, and we sort of shoot off from there. We get a late checkout on the final day because our flights are towards the evening coming home. They take care of all of your luggage at the hotel, and it includes air and land for one person sharing a room, so double occupancy. So if there's anybody that is looking to fly solo, if you know somebody who wants to come with you, it will help you out in terms of the final cost. What is included? I don't have the exact number. We're still working that out once we finalize everything, but we get a full buffet every single day at the hotel. Those of you who went know how much food they actually give you. We're going to have a certain number of dinners that are included, including a Shabbat dinner. We will be in Jerusalem on Shabbat, so we will have a Shabbat dinner there. A certain number of lunches, depending on where we are, and you get bottled water on the bus every day. You get 10 days with a licensed tour guide, and I'll talk about that in a second. Transportation in a fully air-conditioned luxury bus for 9 days. There's no bus on Shabbat. Everything that we do on Saturday is going to be Shabbat friendly and in walking distance. And the entrance fee to all the sites and the attractions priced on the itinerary. Now about the tour guide. When we went in 2019, we had a fabulous tour guide, Yonit, who I have stayed in touch with over the last 4 years. I did try to get her for this trip again. Unfortunately, her prices have shot up so much that Israel Maven has decided not to work with her. I tried to see if she could massage it, but because of COVID and the amount of money that tour guides and tourism has lost in general, all the prices have skyrocketed. I'm just going to say that right out. What we paid in 2019 is not what we're paying in 2023. So just keep that in mind. They're still recovering very much from what had happened with COVID. There is going to be a dedicated site on their website that's only for Prineville Jewish Center, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. You do all of your registration, all of your payments, everything is done through that website. I do not handle any of the money for this trip Yeah, I don't want to. With the exception of what happens between Prineville and Newark and Prineville, and we'll talk about that in a second as well. But I just want to show you really quickly what that looks like. So this is one of the other congregations that they have, Sutton Place. You'll see on their website, it's got a pricing area that will give you the exact cost. It will give you a registration area right here to go and register. It will list all of your hotels, and it will say on here, Prineville Jewish Center and the dates of our trip. So that's what the website looks like. It works very, very well. And everything is backed and supported by Israel Maven. So they're the ones we go to for everything. If you are in need of a wheelchair, God forbid, or whatever it is, we work with them. They take care of all of that. Transportation to and from PJC. The last time we used Arrived in Style, which is fairly local, we got a 30-person motor coach. Everybody met here at PJC. You were allowed to leave your car in the parking lot. We gave you parking permits. We met up here and they took all of your luggage, put it on there, took us to Newark Airport. Everybody stays together. It makes it a whole lot easier for me if I know where everyone is from start to finish. Unfortunately, those costs have gone up as well. So it's now going to be $100 per person round trip from PJC to Newark and back. Those are current rates. I just reached out to them like a couple of days ago. So that's going to be how we get to the airport from here. Now I'm going to show you prices, and it's a range because I don't have it set yet. A lot of it's going to depend on what you guys tell me right now. So the prices are based again on double occupancy. We're looking at anywhere from $5,500 to $6,500 a person. This has gone up considerably since 2019. That's because the hotels have jacked up their prices. The cost of gasoline and petrol there is off the charts, same as here. And again, I can't confirm any of it until we finalize everything. But again, it's based on 20 paying participants. If we do not get at least 20 people, this trip becomes prohibitively expensive on top of what I'm already showing you. So these are groups start at about 20 people. We're not there yet. I'm hoping once I release this information, people understand what the price point is, that we might get more people to join. But this is really going to be the deciding factor as to whether or not we're going to be able to make this trip work. I can work something out with him and see what that really does to the numbers and try our best to hit 20 because I'm trying to not go above that price for everyone. What's not me on a plane with this for 10 hours. Yes. Insurance, I go over all that in a second. Okay, so what's not included on the trip? Any personal expenses that you incur when you get there, any other meals other than what's going to be specified. If you know somebody in Israel and you want to have them join us for lunch, we don't cover their cost. Sorry. Insurance for baggage, personal items and stuff. It is greatly encouraged for you to have trip insurance. And I stress that more now with the whole COVID thing than I ever did before. Last time, I didn't even bat an eyelash. I knew I was going on the trip no matter what. This time around, I really do recommend that people get travel insurance. Last time I did look for a group rate. I will do the same, but I don't have that at the moment. So a lot of the times, if you've got Medicare, they will offer an insurance package as well, or through your insurance provider, so you can check with them as well. Again, all prices are in US dollars. All that is required to confirm your reservation is $500. That will be due as soon as we go live with this. The rest is not due until 45 days before the trip. So you have quite a long time between now and the end of October. And so that you can pay it off in installments, you can do whatever works best for you. And again, that will all be done through the Israel Maven website. There is a full cancellation, full refund up to 60 days before the start of the trip. So we're looking at end of August. Less than 60 days to 30 days, a $500 per person cancellation fee. And then anything within the 29 is no more refund. So just keep that in mind. We did have somebody that had to cancel because she got sick, and we were able to work with her and the insurance to get everything taken care of. Passports, very important. Rich learned this the hard way a few years ago when we went to the Dominican Republic. Check your passports and make sure that they are valid for a minimum of 6 months from the date of entry. So they've got to be good for 6 months past October 29th. Now is the time to take a look at it. I don't think this affects anybody but me. If you have dual citizenship, you have to travel with both passports. It's not fun. Again, I think this applies more to anybody with Israeli citizenship. They now charge VAT if you've got Israeli citizenship, so I will be getting that dinged on top of my cost as well. You don't pay the VAT, but unless I have to try to put everything under Rich and his passport so that they don't ding me with the VAT. Okay, so what does the trip look like right now? The departure is going to be Sunday, October 29th. With an arrival on Monday morning, October 30th. We land in Ben Gurion. Again, the airline is to be decided. And once we get through passport control, customs, you get your luggage. There's an arrivals hall where the Israel Maven tour company person and the tour guide is going to be there to meet us. The bus is right outside. We'll get everything loaded on the bus. And we kind of get started right away. Yeah.
So the 55 to 6,500, that's that inclusive or exclusive?
That I told him to give me a range based on including airfare. With airfare, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to do this as turnkey as possible. I know that I spoke to somebody else who said that, that a lot of the times they don't like doing the group rate on the airfare anymore because people like using their points on different airlines. And while I appreciate that, it makes it way, way harder for me to manage if I've got someone coming on United at 10 in the morning, somebody coming on British Airways at whatever. I'd rather have everyone together from the moment we leave here to the minute we land. It just makes things move a lot more smoothly. So we're going to do all of the flights through them, and I will let you know who gives us the best rate. From what I saw right now, El Al is pretty manageable. So we actually start our travels as soon as we get on the bus because we can't check into the hotel until later. So we're going to head up to Caesarea again. We're going to go to the Druze village and have lunch over there with an overlook at Muchakra. And I gave you some of the highlight pictures. Caesarea was amazing. This time Rich will not be allowed to lose his phone. Just saying. He's not allowed to go to the Hippodrome anymore. We did not get a chance to do the Druze Village lunch last time because we were running late on something else. It got canceled, so we put it back into this trip. And we're going to do one of two things. We can either go back up north to the Galilee and the Golan Heights, or we can go down south. I'm also giving you a choice of 2 hotels, and some of that will dictate what your final price point is going to be. I'm just going to disclaim by saying I do not recommend you go for a 5-star hotel. Save your money for what you want to do there because you're barely going to be in the room other than to sleep and to shower. All of these hotels are great, but I'm going to show you what our options are. So in the Galilee, we have the Remote Resort or Kfar Bloom. Yes. Yeah.
Leaving on the 29th for Sunday.
Mhm.
Returning what day?
Wednesday, November 8th.
Wednesday, November
November 8th.
8th.
Yeah, 10 days. All right, so we have these 2 options, and I will show you what that looks like. The first option, as I said, is going up north to the Galilee and the Golan, and the options are going to Haifa, which I know the rabbi has been very much looking forward to going, Akko, which is incredible, Rosh Hanikra, which we did not do last time. Last time we went to Tel Saki on the Syrian border. Now we're going to be going to Tel Facher, which is the site of the 6th War, Nimrod's Castle, Tel Don Nature Walk, and we're meeting with someone about life on the Lebanese border. So different border. And I just wanted to explain that all of these things that have to do with being on the border with any of the Arab countries are determined the morning of based on security. So I stay in touch with the Israel Maven people who get the word from that location as to whether or not it's safe for us to go there. So that's that. And then the Golan Heights, it's a different Jeep tour than the one we did last time. The El Kaniter Ancient Synagogue, another lunch, the Batzelet Winery, and a nature hike in Gamla before we head into Jerusalem. That's option number one. Option number two is going south. And I will say south, I do not mean Eilat. We're not going to get there. It's very far by bus or another flight. We're not going to do that. So we can go into Ofetz Aza, where we'll be on one of the kibbutzes. We would do the salad trail, which I had to actually look up because I had no idea what it is. But if you've ever heard that Israel has managed to irrigate the desert, this is what we're talking about. And it actually goes through that entire thing. You would go to the a Bedouin experience. You have the Negev Desert, you've got the Ramon Crater, all this in stargazing activity, going to Ben Gurion's grave, going to Ein Ovdat, the Ethiopian village, with a travel to Jerusalem. So two very different places. I don't know which is going to hit more of the marks for you. I will say this, if we go south, I can possibly get another day in Tel Aviv. If we go north, the itinerary stays the way that it is. So you're going to have to tell me, and I will again give you links to everything so you can kind of look around and let me know, and majority will rule as to what we end up doing. But those are the two options. The two hotel options. This is the remote resort in the Golan Heights. They all have pools. It won't be warm enough to use them, especially
Yes, it will.
it will be a little
It
bit
will
chillier
be
up there.
warm.
So that's the 4-star option. This is the Kfar Blum kibbutz in the Hula Valley in the Golan Heights. This is your 5-star option. So you have to kind of weigh the options. I am going to say, again, I would stick with the 4-star option. So we have to make a decision, north or south, sooner rather than later, so I can finalize all of that. And the itinerary becomes a lot more detailed once we have all that in place. No, we do. The back end it doesn't change. It's the first two, days 2 through 4, that will either be north or south. The rest of the trip stays exactly the same. So this is going to be the back end. So after we either come back from the north or the south, we're going to Jerusalem. So day 5, 6, and I believe 7 is all in based in Jerusalem. We're going to the Jewish Quarter, Mount Zion. There's a new Western Wall presentation, different than the one we did last time. We're also going to hit parts of the Christian Quarter, and Shabbat is going to be at the wall. Women and men are separate. There's a mechitza at the wall, so you girls will be with me on one side as we watch all the men body surf on the other side. And then Sunday is like an R&R kind of day. The last time we were located right down the block from the Great Synagogue, and a lot of people took advantage of going to services there and seeing what that's like. I know the rabbi was there for that one. There's also a more conservative synagogue that was across the street. So you have a lot of options there if you want to go to services. The afternoon would be a walking tour to the various areas. They had put down the Havdalah sound and light show, and I actually said to him, we did that last time, so that might end up changing, even though I know you first-timers didn't do it, but I'm trying to balance out those that are returning. So there might be something else over there. Again, you have 2 choices for hotels. You have the Dan Panorama, which is the 4-star, again with the pool. If we get lucky with the weather like we did last time, it might be warm enough to use it. And I'm actually going to show you that they're both like right next door to one another, and they're fairly close to the Western Wall. It's not a very long walk. Or the Inbal Hotel, which is again right next door to it. That's the 5-star hotel. So depending on what people say, we'll go with that. But again, it will affect your bottom line. It's not far from there. It's a little bit closer, going towards the Kotel. Yeah, going the other way is going into Rehavia, which is one of the other areas. We're going to be moving slightly closer to where the wall was. Yeah, but not much further. Yeah, a little bit further down from the Mamila. It's kind of like in the middle. Yeah. Sunday is going to be leaving from Jerusalem, going back to Masada, which I thought everybody loved, and I would definitely do that again. And this time we're going to one of the hotels for the spa and the beaches of the Dead Sea. So you'll get to actually book a massage, do whatever you want to do, float in the The beaches by the hotels are very different than the ones that we went to. They're really, really nice. So you get to spend the afternoon there. We come back that night to Jerusalem, and then Monday we go to the Knesset, which is the Israeli parliament, possibly meeting with a member of parliament. There's Mount Herzl, the Israel Museum, and there's an option to take place in a Caliber 3 Army experience, which actually teaches you about counterterrorism measures by the IDF, which I thought was pretty cool. They have rifle shooting. Yeah, it's like a full like immersive experience. So if you've got enough interest, we can definitely do that. Don't shoot me. And then we were going to go back to the Machane Yehuda, which last time we did a walking tour through several different restaurants. We got to like taste all this amazing food. It's a very cool experience. We're going to do that again with different places. This Tuesday is where we might part ways for part of the day. If you have never been to Israel before, you're going to head off to Yad Vashem. If you've been there and are going back, then we are going to do a Jerusalem on the Seam, which I need to get a little bit more information on. And after that, we head over to Tel Aviv. And that will be on, did I miss something here? No, I didn't. So Wednesday is the Anu Museum, which was completely redone. Going back to Old Jaffa, the flea market, no Shuka Carmel this time. The Paris Innovation Center, and a graffiti tour in Florentine, which is actually very cool. I did a virtual one with the Hebrew school kids last year. It's a lot of fun. And then after dinner, we head over to the airport. A flight usually leaves at like around 11, something like that, and you get in the next morning. So that is the sort of tentative view. Again, in Tel Aviv, you have two choices. You have the Dan Panorama in Tel Aviv, right on the beach, or the Carlton Hotel, Tel Aviv, also. Right
Oh, very nice.
Get lucky. Last time we did manage to go into the ocean. It was really, really warm. I don't know what we're going to end up with. It's typically not that hot. It's usually like in the 60s, so it's comfortable touring weather, but we got really, really hot weather. So those are the two options for hotels. Anybody who went knows this, but I'm going to go over it for the newbies. It's encouraged that you use a credit or debit card in the hotels. You get a better exchange rate that way. Israel uses the shekel. You get a chance to exchange money. Definitely have money on you. All the shuks, the little places outside, don't take credit cards, so you should have some cash on you. Obviously, they speak Hebrew. Most of them speak English, not well, but enough to be able to get by. And of course, our tour guide is fluent in English. But I will also give you a little sheet that I made up for the last time with like commonly used words that you should know, like where's the bathroom, where's my bus, things like that. Yeah. We're not leaving the country at any point, so once you get to the hotel, put your passports in the safe. You're not going to need them. Comfortable walking shoes, I can't stress it enough. There's a lot of cobblestone, a lot of ancient artifacts you need to have. I mean, and I told the rabbi this earlier, there's no more underground sort of crawling through tunnels. We're not going to an archaeological dig this time, so it should be a lot more comfortable, but definitely pack comfortable shoes. Again, layers is the best thing. Jackets and fleece. It gets chilly up north if we're going there at night. For when you go to the Western Wall, no bare shoulders, no shorts, skirts that reach at least the knee. Capris are fine, but nothing that exposes too much. And again, we're going to be separate for the men for that. It gets hot as you go further south, though. So once you get to the Dead Sea, it will be warm enough for you to go in the water, but it won't be excruciatingly hot, which is great. Bring your sunscreen, your hats, your flip-flops, water shoes. Not flip-flops, water shoes for when you go in. It's got all the minerals and stuff on there. It's very uncomfortable to walk on if you don't have something on your feet. Electrical adapters, they do not use the same same voltage as we do here. And if you get the one that has a couple of USBs for your phone, it takes care of everything. They have hair dryers and everything in the hotel, so you don't have to worry about that. I use WhatsApp, which is you download to your phone, and it works off of their system, so nobody has to worry about getting charged an outrageous amount of money by your phone provider. So we will take care of all that before we go. So you download WhatsApp, I create a group. That's how I communicate with you throughout the entire trip. I give you reminders of what time to be up in the morning, what time to be back on the bus if we're splitting up. And that's how the tour guide communicates with me as well. And again, bring your camera and take a lot of pictures because it's really an incredible trip. The itinerary as it's listed doesn't really do it justice, but when you go there, it's truly an incredible experience. I will send all of this out. All your questions go directly through me. So I'm gonna send you this presentation tomorrow so that you have all of it. But the big question is really going to be, do we want to go north or do we want to go south?
Well, you can't ask me because I've been denied them, so.
North?
Absolutely.
Idea?
You know that.
North, the north is very cool. We have not done the south before, but again, it was an option that was sort of thrown out. The real perk in that is getting an additional day in Tel Aviv, which I think would be a great thing. But again, I'm going to leave it up to you. This is your trip. You decide which way you want to go. And I will, once we get all of that sort of done and everyone agree, are we in agreement that we don't need a 5-star hotel?
Yeah.
4-star is good? All right. So, yeah. If anyone has questions on Zoom, feel free to unmute and ask. I know it's a lot of information, but you know, I'm around, you know, throughout this. I really would like to finalize everything and have him start to book within the next couple of weeks because I want to lock in those rates. This is a really good time because it's after the high holidays, but before the winter holiday sets in. So it's a great time and the prices are usually much more manageable. But I do want to get the airfare locked in for us and those flights. And I want the hotels booked so we don't have an issue. So if everyone can just let me know within the next like week or so, whether you're in, whether you're out. You're in. Yeah. Everybody okay with 4-star on Zoom?
We prefer 5-star. We've been on both 4 and 5, but I know it's extra money, but you know. Mike, do you hear me?
North or south?
Well, what would be the difference? You know, that's just
They
another
both
thing.
spend the same amount of time. It's only the first 3 days of the trip that would change. Everything else, you've got 3 full days, I believe, in Jerusalem where you use Jerusalem as your home base and we go to various points from there.
I understand that. So in other words, the first 3 or 4 days, it's either north or south, then to Jerusalem
Yep.
for the same amount of time. So
Yeah, you're actually in Jerusalem more days than you are in the other one. It is, let me go back here, and I will tell you exactly. It is day. Yeah, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 4 days in Jerusalem. 3 up north, 4 days in Jerusalem, and then the last. It's not 3 in Tel Aviv. It's oh no, I'm sorry. It's 1, 2, 4. It's longer. It's like 6 days in Jerusalem, 3 up north or south, and then you basically get a day in Tel Aviv. Yeah, it's going to be part of the Tel Aviv piece of it, but we'll be there during the day this time as opposed to just that night. Yeah. It's not as crowded of an itinerary as it was last time too.
Yeah,
So I'm
fine.
hoping it gives you a little bit more sort of, you know, breathing room because it's exhausting. No, I don't think so. There might be. I have to double check on that. There might be. Anyone interested in going on a camel? Been there, done that, not doing it again. I'm just saying. Just saying.
As long as you take a shower
It's an
with you.
experience. Kick that off your bucket list. I went on with him, and when that thing stood up, I thought I was going right over, and it was booking like right on like the edge of a cliff. Yeah. It did. It did. I mean, it was a great experience. That was Abraham's tent that we did, and it was fabulous. But again, we had a lot of kids, and we made our own pizza, and we had dinner sitting on the floor. So if you have trouble sitting crisscross applesauce and getting that coffee, I recommend it. So no, I don't believe that there's going to be. There's no rafting on the Jordan this time either. I don't believe, unless we stay in Car Bloom, which. If we stay in Car Bloom, we might be able to add it in because it's right there. So I can, like, if we have enough people, I can try to see if we can get that in. Yeah, but a lot of walking. Good.
5 days or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I told him that I wanted to get everything like done by the end of this month. If we could get it done sooner, I want to lock in rates before they change again. And I want to lock in the flights more than anything else. I guess we can all agree that we're okay going on same flight, like having them coordinate all the flights. Nobody needs to use their points. I did have a conversation with my contact at Federation because they were looking to do a trip as well. And we were thinking about maybe combining forces so that we could get more people. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen because there's a lot of mission stuff that Federation has to do with where they allocate funds that I didn't think was going to work. Plus they require like a donation. And I go, I'm not doing that. Like this trip is for PJC people. I'm not giving Federation anything else. I'm like, if it was just a matter of getting more people and then your people go do what you need to do and my people go do whatever, but I don't think that it's going to work, unfortunately, but we tried. Yes. I can. I can get it.
Right, rather than just saying, no, we're not going. Well, we could always go on Airbnb and just rent a big house.
Hey, my
No.
mother did take bar mitzvah. They stayed in Bat Yam for 6 weeks. It was great. Yes, Rabbi.
Yeah, I was just actually raising my hand anyway, just for that.
I don't know.
Just,
I can't hear you. Huh?
can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh,
Can you hear me?
yes. Now that was
Okay.
my fault. I didn't have
Okay,
the.
so I actually was an active participant on the last trip. I think most of you, from what I see, were not. So just a couple of just quickly, my own 1 or 2 points, which I've been listening here. It seems there are a couple of people that might want a 5-star. So I'm thinking just for fairness.
Nobody.
If
Nobody,
wants.
Rabbi.
All right.
No, we were interested in it.
Oh, you want a 5-star?
What the prices are, yeah.
What the difference in prices, okay.
We
And
stayed at the
secondly,
Waldorf when we were in Jerusalem. It was beautiful. You know, the Waldorf store, right?
secondly, I
we-
sort of
Good.
Okay, I sort of briefly went by that itinerary. And based on the last trip, and I'm speaking for my own personal observation, there's going to be a lot of walking. And from what I see from the southern side of it, from the option to go south, a lot more walking because the south is basically a desert. From what I just briefly looked at the itinerary, I personally, if I could just add some sort of recommendation, I'm a student of the North. I think that we missed a great city, Haifa, last time, to see like the Baha'i Gardens, to see just to see it looks just like San Francisco. It's beautiful. And to all kinds of different things there. There's a Tomb of Elijah, there's the Carmel Forest, there's great restaurants, great lots of things. And then also, I don't think the Hula Valley and the Golan Heights is something, those kibbutzim up there, that's really something to cherish. It's the wineries. I think it's something very special that's completely different from the rest of the part of the country. So, for the first timers, I mean, your trip, I missed that part of the trip. I left early, but for the first timers, I think a southern trip is if you want to go down to Eilat, spend a couple of days on the beach, or just go snorkeling. And I'm not saying it's bad, but just as a personal for myself who's been
We're not
there
getting there.
and been on that trip.
Yeah, no, I said, we're not gonna get that far south to even go to Eilat, so
Can I ask you what you would like to do, or if you had the choice?
it
Yeah,
makes no difference to me.
doesn't make a difference to you.
Makes
Okay.
no difference to me. Again, I have access to Israel whenever I want. My whole family is there. So this is really more about what works for people who've never experienced it, because the goal is to really get you to connect with the country by traveling the country and experiencing what it has to offer. Because as I said the first time I went, a lot of what people get is what you hear on the news. And it's not the same when you get there. It's a very, very different feeling when you're actually in the country and you're traveling and you're interacting with the locals, whether they be native Israelis, whether they be Arab Israelis, whether they be Christians that live there. It's a very, very different perspective. And I think it really changes up people's viewpoints about the country when you experience it. So I'm fine with whichever.
The north is nice, but being there, we've been there 3 times. The south offers more things that we haven't seen, but the north is nice. But just saying that if we
I mean,
have,
again, it's tough to balance out people who've never been and people who have and
Right,
people who are going back. So at the end of the day, it needs to be what works for the majority.
of course,
In terms of hotels, I would say the same thing, because it's much easier if everyone's at the same hotel. We have one meeting point, the bus comes here. If the bus has to go to different hotels, there's a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
In Jerusalem, it's like being in Manhattan. It's very, very crowded. The streets are very narrow. So if we have to make multiple stops, that's going to, yeah, it's going to make it a little bit more difficult. So, I mean, I know that some may want that upgraded. I know that the Dan has an upgrade feature, but I personally don't recommend having us split up into different hotels. That's just my 2 cents on that.
question with the bus from.
Hang on one sec. Hold on one second.
A northern trip area or a southern?
The same presentation that I just gave you, I'm going to send you the entire thing. You can scroll through it. You can take a look at everything that I posted and see. I have a feeling that the north is going to be where more people want to go. But again, the decision is not going to be made by me. It's going to be by what the majority says. And yeah.
If you have 20 some odd people, are you gonna get an individual bus with nobody else?
The bus is dedicated to PJC and PJC only.
So yes. The answer is yes. So if you have 15 people, you're gonna get a bus for 15.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same bus. It doesn't matter. That bus goes from as little to up to 50 people. It's the same thing. You get to spread out. There's bathroom on the bus. It's ours for the entire time. Same driver for all 10 days.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't share anything with any other tour group. Yeah. Mark, what were you saying?
Yeah, for us, ideally, the only issue is it's easier for us to meet at Newark Airport because our kids live up West Caldwell and we have to have the dog being brought up to West Caldwell. So ideally, it's easier for us.
That's okay, as long, I mean, because there's going to be, once you get through, I mean, we're all together, but everybody's sort of like all over the place once you go through security. Like some people have TSA, some people don't have TSA. The whole thing is we end up going and getting something to eat and then everybody meets up at the gate. So as long as you're at the gate and I know that you're there, that's fine. This is just what happened to work really well last time, was that people didn't have to worry about how to get to the airport and parking their cars and all that other stuff. But that's totally fine. Anything else? Again, I might, this probably will be tweaked a little bit and I will have a more like detailed itinerary of stuff. Some things might change, like the Havdalah light show. I don't think we're gonna end up doing, but
Well,
yeah.
I'm not going on the trip, but I think you've done a spectacular job.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It's really, it's a lot of work. This was actually more complicated than the first one because it was like first time we're doing this. Everybody's sort of like starting from the same point. This time around, it's a little bit more complicated, but we don't have any bat mitzvahs this time, so I don't have to worry about that piece of it.
The birthday though.
You do.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're, and his birthday's the week after we get back. Okay,
My
right.
birthday is the day we leave.
What was that, Marsha?
My birthday is the day we would be leaving.
There we go. You're bringing the cake,
Birthday on a
Marshall.
plane.
The 29th.
On the plane. Well, I'm really glad to know that because now I can work that in.
So the only question I have is like, I'm basically myself. I don't have anybody that I'm bringing. And it would be like, I would be an individual. I don't mind sharing a room, but I don't know if there's going to be anybody to do that
I
with.
don't, when I get the final pricing, it will give you what the single supplement is on there. It's usually like, I don't know, I would have to pull up my numbers from last time on there, but what I'm gonna do is once it's all done, I'm gonna give you the breakdown of exactly what those numbers look like, along with the website when it's all ready to go, and you can go in, and again, it's $500 to secure your spot. Should anything happen, if it becomes unsafe going, all these things, we're going to factor all of that in. I'm not going to put anybody in a situation where they're uncomfortable. Obviously, we're hoping that COVID stays right now, but you know what? You simply never know. And I don't know people's comfort level, and it's not for me to make that determination. You have to do what works best for you. As long as we work within those timelines, we should be okay. And once I get that final from everybody, I will go ahead and book everything. And send out that final information so that everybody can start to register and put your deposits down.
Thank you.
Yep. Yep. Yes. And the flight and which airline provider. I'm thinking it's going to be El Al again, but don't quote me on it.
El Al does a really, just as a recommendation, El Al does a really good job. It's very safe. There are marshals all over that plane, which you don't even know who they are. They look like regular people just sitting around. I think there's a little bit of difference between the United flight to Israel and from what I've been hearing. I never did take the United flight, but from what I heard between El Al, it seems that United, for some reason or another, and I don't want to really label anybody or bring a particular group in, but reality seems to attract a lot more Haredim for some reason, because they don't want to fly. They want to go to Israel. They don't want to fly the El Al Airlines. We were talking before in Hebrew school. They said that when they get up and pray, Imbar was saying that when they got up to pray on the El Al flight, she felt like the whole back was shaking. So just double that at United. But I think El Al, they're very I think they're very good at what
They know
do.
what they're doing.
They're
They
very
really
good
know
at
what they're doing. Nobody ever felt that they were unsafe or that, I mean, their security measures, they don't
do.
follow what normal TSA does. You're going through Israel's security. So they profile very differently than they do.
Yeah.
Take your
Yeah,
shoes
and
off.
it's a totally Jewish airline.
Yeah.
Not that I'm speaking about, anybody or anything else but it's just based on that that United is a secular airline, but and different all kinds of things. But I think El Al is it's just geared. They understand the traveler. They understand the older situation,
And
things
their
like
food
that.
is good.
I've flown El Al about 20 times. That's why I'm saying that.
But to get more people?
No. No. No, again, I don't want the plane to do this.
Yeah, that way. Yeah.
No. You can advertise within this and like the general community though.
Yeah.
No, so they're Jews. So, all right. So I will
All right.
send everything out to everybody tomorrow. I will wait to hear back. Let me give you a deadline of, let's say by the 17th, which is about a week and change from now. If we can kind of get everyone's feedback, I will go back to Israel Maven and get prices for a smaller group to see what we're looking at in terms of a difference here, just to give you an idea. And hopefully by the 20th, he can go in and book everything, and I can give you all the final information. We will take it from there.
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay.
You're welcome. All right, everyone on Zoom land. I'm available if anybody wants to talk to me about anything that you didn't get a chance to or that you want to talk to me about privately. I'm around all of next week. I will be in the office, but I'll be in a little bit later on Tuesday. I have to go for physical therapy for my busted shoulder. So I will be in a little bit later. But again, around and 17th would be the deadline to tell me north or south. And I'm gonna go with the 4-star hotels and we will go from there. Sounds good. All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Inbar.
Welcome.